So we are determining quadratic rules, and we're going to be doing that for this graph right here. We're going to be determining what the rule of this graph is. Now we have three options before us. When we have two x-intercepts, we can write it in this form. When we're given the turning point, we can write it in this form. And when we're given three arbitrary points, we can write it in this form. So step number one will be determining which form it's going to be in. And we'll determine that by looking here and looking at the points we've been given. Well, have we been given two x-intercepts? Clearly not. Have we been given a turning point? We absolutely have been given a turning point, and that means I'm going to write down this form of a quadratic rule. And that's going to be our first step, simply copying down the rule we're going to use. X minus h squared plus k. Perfect. That's step number one. Step number two will be putting in our turning point. So our turning point, when we look here at our rule, it's going to be the h and the k. The coordinate h and k will be my turning point. And now when we look at our graph, we can see that h will be -3 and k will be 2. So let me come over here and write a -3 and 2. So now I'll be subbing in this point into my rule. So let me rewrite my rule, y equals a x. Now, instead of writing -h, I'm going to be putting in -3 into the h spot. So that negative and negative will become a positive. So I'm going to get +3, close, square it. And then in my plus k, I'm going to be putting a 2 in my k spot. So I'm going to get +2. And I'm putting that plus there because if this was a -2, then it would be a -2 here. Perfect. Let us now go to our third step. So hopefully you can see we're doing very well, but we have this a here, and we don't want that a there. It represents our dilation factor. So we need to figure out, what is my dilation factor? What is this a going to be? And to figure that out, I'm going to sub in the point. And here we have it here, 0 and 20. 0 and 20. By subbing in this point into the rule so far, we'll be able to solve for a. So in my y spot, I will put 20. And in my x spot, I will put 0. +3 squared plus 2. And I skipped a line here. Let me just pop this up here. Perfect. Now I'm simply going to rearrange until I can get what my a is. So let me -2 from both sides to get 18. And 3 squared is 9, so I'm going to get 9a. I will then divide both sides by 9. So I'm going to get 2 equals a. Perfect. So my fourth step will be writing down my final answer. My final answer will be y equals 2 x plus 3 squared plus 2. That right there will be my final answer. Hopefully this video was helpful in showing you how to determine a quadratic rule when given a graph.